We'll do a little introduction here before we dive into training. My name is Jason. For those who don't know, you probably know most of me. This is my friend Diana. Raise your hand, Diana, please. And this is my friend Christina. They're going to be here for the next 4 weeks helping us out. So if there's anything that you guys need, if you have any questions or you need to use a restroom and you can't get your dog to go in the restroom, these young ladies will be glad to help you. Make sure you do hand them food before you go into the restroom. That way the dog doesn't drag them in the restroom with you. Okay, a couple, yes, I have a really weird sense of humor, so I apologize now. However, I use humor for a couple different ways. One, to cover up my nervousness, because I am nervous. Two, it helps you guys kind of lighten the mood, because right now you guys are super nervous, okay? So, first couple of rules here. I have a no sniffing policy. Okay, that goes for your dogs also. Okay, that's a corny joke. See, the poor young lady in the back, she's been in my class before, and so she's like, oh my gosh, I've heard these before. But if you haven't heard my jokes before, please feel free to laugh. Back to my corny jokes. Okay, so I am serious. I do have a no sniffing policy when it comes to dogs. This is really important. A lot of people call me up and say, Jason, I want to come to one of your classes because I want to socialize my dog. Right now, your dogs are socializing. Your dog does not need to play with other dogs in order to socialize. Plus, the dog that your dog may be sniffing or running up to may not be okay with other dogs. And so I want to create a safe environment for both you and your dog. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry, I thought another dog was coming in. So when you guys come in and out the building, please just make sure that you don't all leave at once, that you kind of pay attention to the dogs around you, okay? If your dog is a little bit preoccupied, like it's starting to focus on the other dog, just simply pull out some food, kind of redirect them. A good example is this. If I was focused on my friend's here, dog, and I'm focused, I'm just staring at them the whole time, most likely something's gonna happen. A stare usually turns into a bark. A bark usually turns into a lunge usually turns into me panicking, okay? So we don't want to reach the panic state tonight. We want to keep a calm state tonight, okay? One more. Yes. Okay. We're getting a little crowded in here. Hold on one second. Are you gonna be okay there? Okay. All right, so let's get into some training here. What if I told you your dogs are already perfectly trained? Your dogs are already fully trained. Would you believe me? Okay, I got one yes. I got some really puzzled faces. Let me ask you this. You guys are not trained. That's what it comes down to. Do you really have to teach your dog how to put its butt down? No. Do you really have to teach your dog how to lay down? How does your dog sleep? Your dog lays down, right? I guarantee you, your dog knows how to come to you. But dog training is about simple communication, keeping things as simple as possible. A lot of you guys already know a little bit about training your dog, but you probably don't know about consistency. You don't know how to lure, how to shape, about timing, okay? So dog training is about simple mathematics. 2 + 2 is always 4 in dog training. I'll say it again. 2 + 2 is always 4 in dog training. So if you guys are involved in training with your dog, and there's somebody else at home that is also going to work with your dog, make sure that they're on the same page as you. Because let's say you learn something here and you go home and your spouse or your loved one or your kids at home, yes, Alexa, stop music. Sorry about that. And you go home and your spouse or your loved one is doing something totally different with the dog. It's kind of like teaching a child today 2 + = 4, but next day it equals a different number, or next day it equals a different number.
Sorry, I couldn't hear with him talking the whole time. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem. Sorry about that. So dog training is about keeping things simple, and being consistent. Okay, so right here behind Christina, there is a board of everything that we're going to go over. Our goal is to learn 2 to 3 new behaviors each time we meet. This does not mean that I expect your dogs to be trained in 4 weeks. In fact, this is really going to confuse you, but I actually don't care if your dogs are trained in 4 weeks. In fact, your dogs are not here to learn, you guys are here to learn. If you only work with your dogs the nights you come to training, I guarantee you, your dog is not going to be trained. It's just a fact of life, okay? It's kind of like sending one of these kids to school and expecting them to learn a whole curriculum, I can't pronounce that word, you guys know what I mean, in like a 3-week time or a month time, right? Okay? We have to have fair expectations for our ability and for our dog's ability, okay? So you guys are the ones that need to take the information home and apply it. So each week we're going to go over 2 to 3 new behaviors. The next week we're going to revisit those behaviors and revisit a couple more. That way you guys can come to me, you guys can say, hey, this worked or this did not work. Not everything I'm going to tell you is going to work for every dog. It just does not work like that. Just like people, dogs sometimes learn different ways. Some dogs are more visual, some dogs are more audible, some dogs need food, some dogs need toys. Every dog learns a different way. So I really need feedback from you guys each week to say, Jason, this worked or this did not work. I don't mind if you come to me and say, man, this really sucks. I want to go to PetSmart. No, okay, I will take that a little offensive. But I really want some feedback from you guys because my business is built on 2 factors. 1, return business. And 2, you guys having success with your dog. It does me no good if you guys leave the class and say, crap, man, I just feel like I wasted $175 on nothing, okay? So I need feedback from you guys. Let's talk about some equipment. I kind of got ahead of myself here. Most of you guys are okay. There's a couple things that do come to mind. If you have difficulty controlling your dog, besides the Chihuahua, but if you have some difficulty controlling your dog, do you see the collar this young lady has on? It's in the email I sent out. It's called a prong collar. If you have physical difficulty maintaining your dog, I'd really encourage you to possibly maybe invest in one of those. Not necessarily from me. It's something that we can talk about afterwards. I'm not a big harness fan for training on. If you have a harness, it's perfectly fine. But if you have a flat collar, I'd rather have you guys use a flat collar over a harness. Leash-wise, I think we're all really good. I'm not a big flexi leash fan. Flexi leashes are dangerous for a couple different reasons. You guys ever watch that show, Jeff Foxworthy? You guys ever seen Jeff Foxworthy? Okay, I watched it. It was funny. I watched a comedian Comedy Channel special with him, and he was talking about him and his wife were out on a walk, and they had a dog about this size here, the Chihuahua, and his wife was walking the dog, and the dog took off running, yanked the leash out of the hand. Well, the problem is the dog was so light that the leash was heavier than the dog. And so the leash was chasing the dog was running from the leash, and it's this whole fiasco. But that's usually what happens with flexi leashes. If the dog gets a good hard yank, it yanks right out of your hand. So I'm not a big flexi leash fan. If there's something that you have questions about regarding training or whether collars or equipment, please feel free to stay after class. Just stay in your seat, and then each week I'll come around and address each one of your concerns, okay? All right, if you guys need to use a restroom, right back there by the vacuum, it's a restroom. If you think your dog needs to go out, I'd encourage you to take him out at any time. Please don't feel free, you're gonna be rude. Things happen. There's a little dirt area between these 2 buildings here. Feel free to take your dog. If your dog has an accident, there's paper towels in the bathroom. Just go and do whatever you need to do to clean up after your dog. Okay, let's dive into some training. So, my training is based on positive reinforcement. Any ideas come to mind when you talk about positive reinforcement? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Treats? Okay. Anything else come to mind? Petting? Okay.
Encouragement.
Encouragement? Okay. Now tell me what comes to mind when I say negative reinforcement or compulsion-based training.
Physical punishment.
Physical punishment. Ooh, I like that. That's a good one. Anything else?
Yelling.
Yelling, okay. Yes? Okay. I pick on the poor man. I don't know him personally, but have you guys ever watched Cesar Millan? Okay. So every dog trainer has a different style. If you've been in the business or you've been around dog trainers, you probably realize that Cesar Millan style is probably not something that's really used. It's more for TV land. So if you're thinking, well, Jason, man, I don't want to have to use treats. I don't want to have to use reward. I don't want to have to carry around food with me. So I want your dogs to be excited. Don't think, oh my gosh, my dog's embarrassing me. Or, oh my gosh, my dog's never going to perform. It's kind of like the first day of school. I guarantee you the first time in class, all the dogs are kind of excited. After they kind of mellow out a little bit, get used to the place, it makes it a little better. Okay, so let's go back to training styles. So if you ever watch Cesar Millan, if you ever watch any shows, does not use reward-based training. Basically, it's based on compulsion-based or what we call force-based training, okay? So my training is based on positive reinforcement. We teach behaviors by luring, by using high-value reward, and we teach in a way that the dog wants to learn. So in my email, I expressed a couple different treat ideas that I suggest. And a lot of people say, well, Jason, I don't want to give my dogs hot dogs, or I don't want to give my dogs cheese. Because if I give my dogs cheese or hot dogs, my dogs are going to start begging for human food. Okay? It doesn't work like this. It's kind of a myth. If I don't ever give my dog a piece of steak, I guarantee you my dog is going to want steak all of his life. My dog can smell it. Obviously, he likes the smell of steak. So a lot of people say, well, why can't I use the treats that we see in stores? Because if you ever walk down the aisles of the pet store, you'll see tons of training treats, right? Tons of ideas for food to use. Do you have any cheese left? Yes. The treats you see in pet stores are not good for training for a couple different reasons. One, if you notice, your dogs are kind of in a kind of distracted area. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of other dogs right now. It's kind of like asking you to go to work tomorrow and your boss saying, I'm only going to pay you $1 an hour. What would your attitude towards work be? Probably not very good, right? But what if your boss said, I'm going to pay you $100 an hour? Then what would your attitude towards work be? Way better, right? So we changed the way your brain is working. Yes, treats in a pet store are good for just occasion every once in a while. But for training, we want something high value. We want something malleable. The type of food we use not only affects the dog's eagerness to learn or their engagement, but it can also affect our dog's learning curve. If we were going to teach your dog, tonight we're going to teach your dog to sit and down and also engagement, but when we teach your dog to down, if we were to do 10 downs in a 10-minute time frame, how quick is your dog going to learn to down instead if we did 10 downs in a 2-minute time frame? Which way is your dog going to learn faster? The more repetitions we can do in a short amount of time, okay? So if we're using something hard, something that takes the dog a while to chew up, now what happens to our learning curve? Okay, we want to decrease or we want to increase the dog's learning curve. We want your dogs to learn way quicker. Okay, I'm going to use this as a really good example, not that I'm trying to pick on the young man, but where's his dog focused now? He's all about the cheese, and all we did is change a little bit of a value. Okay, now the dog is under high value. Now he's getting paid $100 an hour compared to the $5 dad was offering him. Here's the thing, I don't expect you guys to know it. Don't feel bad. You guys are not the first ones. Everybody comes to the first class saying, oh man, I went to a pet store, and these treats right here, they have a dog that's saying yummy on it, and the dog's licking its lips. And of course, these are what my dogs will like. I own 3 businesses, so marketing is really important. I don't know a lot about marketing, but I know enough to get me by. Trust me, marketing plays a lot in those bag of treats that look like the dog would enjoy them, okay? But doesn't mean it's a good training food. So after tonight, if you find that your dog is super distracted by the other dogs around them, and you brought a lower value food, I would suggest that you go home and do some thinking outside the box, and maybe find something that your dogs like. Does that make sense so far? Okay. I really like questions. So at any time, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Because once again, I want you guys to retain this information. I've been doing this for about 30 years now. So sometimes I get ahead of myself and I forget that you guys are still really in the infant stages. Some of this stuff is really kind of, yes.
What about, see, I live out in the country. No, he's not streetwise.
Okay.
If he can get loose from the gates, well, he's learned to open the gate with his nose now. He flips the latch up.
Okay.
So I put a little latch on it. But,
Yeah.
He's not streetwise at all, and he doesn't fear commotion.
Okay, I tell you what, let's talk after class about that, okay? That's something we can address after class.
I would like to be in
Diana.
that conversation. Because it's the same.
Okay, yeah, if you guys have anything that's not pertaining to tonight, please stay after class and I will address each concern as much as I can. Diana, will you turn the heat off, please? Okay, so now we talked about treats. Let's talk about engagement. When I say engagement, what comes to mind? Either in dog training or just in life in general. What comes to mind when I say engagement?
Getting involved.
Focus, getting involved, I like that. Anything else that comes to mind?
Something they like.
Eye contact, okay, well, almost, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Anything else?
Something they like.
Entertaining, okay, something they like. So you guys are all right in one form or the other. So engagement's more important than anything you can ever teach your dog. Engagement is probably the foundation to any successful dog training. It does no good if you can only teach your dog to sit and down in your home environment, right? A lot of times people come to me and say, man, my dog's perfect at home, but every time I come to you, Jason, my dog's crazy. Well, okay, why is that? Because at home is a neutral environment. A neutral environment is any environment that is, well, okay, neutral to your dog. That your dog is on a daily basis, that there's not a whole lot of distraction. In the environment they're in right now, this is a very high distraction area or environment. So your dog is not going to do as well here than they are at home. This is why most of your training is going to be done in your living room. I bought a house a couple years ago. I converted my garage to a training area. I put down mats, cleaned out the garage. It's my training area. When I'm teaching my dog any new concepts, for 6 months, that's the only place I teach my dog, is in that environment. Once the dog firmly understands what I'm asking them, then I'll start taking them to other environments. So the reason why I say this is you can't leave the class tonight and take your dog to the park and expect them to perform. It's just not going to happen, okay?
So you can listen.
So the higher the engagement we have with the dog, the more we can expect from the dog. I'm going to use my friend Diana here. So from time to time I do a little role playing. It does 2 things. One, if I was to bring my own dog in here, I'd be paying attention to my own dog. I can't pay attention to yours. So it does me no good to take my dog in here. And 2, it kind of helps me kind of explain what I want you guys to do. So let's say I'm Diana's dog, and I'm kind of checking out this dog over here. And Diana asked me to do something. Let's say Diana asked me to sit. What's a chance? Oh, that's really funny. What's a chance? I did that on purpose. What's a chance of me sitting? And if I'm really focused over here, what's a chance of me doing anything for her? Right? And every time she asks me to do something, and I'm not doing it, what is she initially doing? Exactly. You guys have kids? Well, besides the obvious. But if you have kids, this makes a whole lot of sense. If you tell your kids to clean the room 10 times, and you do this over 10 years of age, you're building a belief system that you're always going to have to tell them 10 times, right? So every time you do this to your dog, you're basically robbing yourself. Okay? Now, we're going to change it a little here. Diane has filet mignon, okay? The highest value that she can come up with. She's going to take out a handful of food, and she's going to start feeding me. All right, hey, we're having fun. Oh man, all this free food I'm getting. It's kind of like if she had $100 bills, and she just started handing me $100 bills, would I ever leave her side? Right? So now let's talk about values. This dog here to me right now is a value of $10. Diana's handing me out values of $100. Which one am I going to want to go to? Which one am I going to want to pay attention to? Now, if she starts handing me $100 bills, and she does this for a week, how eager am I going to be to learn now? Very, right? But what happens if she was only giving me quarters, and she took me to the beach? She decides to take me to the beach, and for a week she only gave me quarters. How much am I going to want to work for her then? Probably zero, right? I'm going to want to chase seagulls. Going to want to go jump in the ocean, right? Okay. So, can we fairly say or firmly say that now I am engaged with Diana? Right? And all it took is for her to change a simple value using a higher value food and feeding me very quickly. A lot of food, like not a lot of food, but basically feeding me repetitions, okay? The other thing in engagement, if she just stood here and fed me, I'm gonna get really bored of that. You wanna make this a little bit of a game. You almost wanna make this kind of fun, okay? So it's not about just sitting here and fooding, it's about moving a little bit, about getting the dog to chase the food, using your voice a little bit, making this fun.
Jason.
Oh, what you got, Diane? All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, role playing's over, now I'll be serious. So you're probably thinking, wait a minute, this guy's nuts. I'm paying this guy $175 to teach me to feed my dog. It's not about that, okay? Feeding your dog hot dogs is not gonna miraculously gonna just train your dog, okay? Engagement's about a frame of mind. Engagement's about putting your dog in a state where they want to learn, where the dog's eager to learn. So when you do engagement with your dog, you want to make it kind of fun. You want them to kind of chase the food a little bit, okay? I use my friend Christina here. I'm going to steal her away for a minute. So one of the things when you guys feed your dogs, yeah, piece of food. Christina's going to take up a piece of food here. So the more engaged your dog gets and the more hungry your dog is, the more your dog's probably going to bite your fingers, okay? We don't punish the dog for something that we create. What we can do is we feed the dog in a certain way. So you notice the piece of food's in the palm of her hand. She takes the thumb, she holds the food just like this, so the dog actually pushes into the palm of her hand, okay? If she was to hand the dog a piece of food with the fingertips, what's the dog gonna bite? The fingertips, right? So when you guys feed your dog, I mean, not every dog's this way. Some dogs are gonna be gentle taking food. If your dog's gentle taking food, you don't necessarily have to feed this way. But if you have a dog that's really exuberant about their food, you definitely wanna make sure that you keep your fingers, okay? You can feed them this way. All right, I am going to, I am going to ask for a guinea pig. Anybody? I'm going to use you. Can I use you? I knew you wanted to be a guinea pig. Stand up for a minute, please. I'm going to have you come down here a little bit, little area. Okay, hold on for a minute. Oh, you're way ahead of me. Okay, so she's taken a class already. You see what she's automatically doing. So hold on here. Here, take your food away, bro. So we're gonna do a little game here. I'm going to come up and talk to the dog. I'm gonna distract the dog a little bit. And she's gonna ask the dog to sit. Let's see what happens. Okay, does your dog know sit? Have you done? What's your dog's name again?
Riley.
Riley. Just calmly ask Riley and say, "Hi, Riley. Good job." Hello. Good. It's okay. It's okay. So, do you think Riley heard her? Guarantee Riley heard her, right? But where was Riley engaged with? Me or her, right? Okay. Now watch what she's gonna do. Do a little engaging. Pull your food out. She's gonna get Riley to chase the food a little bit. Don't ask him to sit yet. Oh. She's gonna make this a little bit of a game. Good job. Okay. Now she's gonna ask Riley to sit. Oh. So why did Riley sit better that time? Was it because he no sit or he's more engaged with her? He's way more engaged with her. Now watch this. Kitty, 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 kitty. Oh, there, feed him for that. Feed him for that.
Well, he hears that at home.
So thank you. Can we say now Riley's more engaged with mom? And all she had to do is take out some food and get him to chase the food, okay? So everything that we teach our dogs, we should always make sure our dogs engage with us. If your dog is looking out the window, if your dog is, pay attention to another dog or doing something else, it's not the time to ask your dog to do anything, okay? You want to make sure your dog's engaged. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna divide you guys up a little bit. I'm gonna have these, excuse me, I'm gonna have the 4 of you guys stand up. Yep, 4 dogs, thank you, yep. I'm gonna have you guys just do a little bit of engagement and then sit back down, okay? So, I want you guys just to watch them for a moment, and then we're gonna have you 4 do it, and then have you guys go next, okay? Yep, good, here's 4, yep. Good. So when you guys do this, don't always do it out of one hand. I understand that tonight you need to keep a leash in your hand, but when you're at home, do this out of different hands, like mix it up. Don't always do it out of your right or left, okay? Oh, there it is. Good job. Will he not get off the chair? Will he not get off the chair? Okay, just making sure.
He just was being more quiet when he could get up there and see.
Okay, as long as he doesn't jump. Good. All right. I'm gonna have you guys sit back down. You've done this, do you want to do it? Okay. All right, I'm gonna have you guys 4 stand up. Okay. Then I'm gonna have, you know what? I'm gonna have you guys stand up and do this. I'm gonna have you stay there just for a second, okay? All right, so while you guys stand up, pull your food out, see if you can play a little bit of game, get your dog to chase your food a little bit, and then feed, good. All right. Good job. So I wouldn't worry about him following your hand. If he'll just sit there and eat, I would take that.
Yeah, he'll just sit there and eat right now.
All right. Oh, good feed for that. So you saw that he wanted to jump up on you, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, feed for that. Good job. Awesome. Good job. All right. Good job. I'm gonna have you just stay right there if you could, just because he's so large. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, have you stay right
Yeah.
there. Okay.
I'll bring the cheese next time.
All right, that'll make it.
I thought this would be great.
Gotcha. So, can you notice anything about your dogs now? Is your dog's a little bit more excited? Now your dog's kind of paying attention to you? It's kind of like me. If I came up to you and started handing you $100 bills, what's your brain gonna do? Your brain's gonna say, wow, I wanna do anything for this guy. Okay, so we talked about engagement. Now we're gonna talk about a release command. Can I ask your kids a question? Is that okay? Do your parents ever put you guys in timeout? They do? Okay. If you got to choose how long timeout would be, how long would you choose?
1 second.
1 second. I love it when the kids are in my class. They help me make this point. So in dog training, everything has a beginning and an end. I'll say it again. Everything has a beginning and an end. If we ask the dog to do something, there has to be an end to the behavior. If there's no end to the behavior, then the dog chooses when the behavior is over. If they choose when the behavior is over, then ultimately the dog will choose whether or not to do the behavior. So the verbiage does not matter. I had a client that taught their dog colors. Red meant sit, green meant down, black meant this, gray meant this. The verbiage doesn't matter. The consistency matters more than anything else. The three of us, we teach our dogs in German. Just because we have German Shepherds, it does not mean the dogs learn German that they're going to pick anything up, okay? So don't think, oh my gosh, I need to pick a language that my dog's going to learn better. It's not the language, it's the consistency, okay? So for tonight, I'm just going to use the word free. It's the F word I want to encourage you to use with your dog, not the F word that you probably want to use with your dog half the time. So I'm going to use my friend Christina here, give you a little example of what this looks like. Okay, so Christina's going to teach me how to sit because obviously I don't know how to sit very well. Okay, Christina has some food. What's the first thing Christina's going to do? Engagement, right? Because right now I'm checking out this Rowdy. How you doing? All right. Oh, hey, what you got? All right. Okay, now I'm engaged. She's going to ask me to sit. Okay, I sit. I'll teach you how to do this in a minute. Okay, now she wants to release me. So at this point, she has two options. Tonight, don't do the first option. The first option, if you're at home, you can take a piece of food, you can toss it to your left and say free.
Free.
Now, what does she know I'm going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to run off and get the food. So now, basically, we're breaking that behavior. Okay, instead of me sitting here focused on her, now she's freeing me and tossing the food. Now I'm going to get the food and I'm going to check out from her.
Jason.
Okay, now she's going to go back to low engagement. Okay, ask me to sit.
Free.
Boom. So the other thing you can do is when you do the free, and this is what you're going to do tonight. So I'm sitting here. She can kind of just jump back.
Free.
All right, and she feeds me for it. Okay, we're just trying to get the dog out of that behavior or that behavior marker that we gave them into a release. Basically, we're done for training. So here's how it looks in reality. Let's say I'm at a park with Christina. She asked me to sit.
Sit.
Okay, her cell phone goes off.
Hey.
Now, if she answers her cell phone, what am I going to do? Hey, mom's busy. I'm going to check out. And then I release myself, right? So anytime that you guys need to check out and you're working with your dog, always release your dog. Let's say Christina needs to reload on food. She's out of food.
Free.
Okay? She goes to her bag and reloads. That way, while she's reloading, I can check out. I can be a dog again. And she doesn't have to worry about me. Hold on. She doesn't have to worry about me breaking behavior without being told it's okay. Does that kind of make sense? I'm losing you guys, or are you guys still good? Okay, so everything has a beginning and end. If you ask your dog to do a sit, there has to be an end to behavior, or you go to a second marker. If you ask your dog to down, your dog needs to be released from the down or go to another behavior. If you're done training, then you always free your dog. If your phone rings, free your dog. If you run out of food, free your dog, okay? This will help you more than anything else. It'll make it very, very clear to your dog when training begins and when training ends. A lot of times people know how to train their dog, but they just don't know all the little fine tuning and all the little keynotes that we're kind of talking about. Okay, let's talk about the next thing we're going to work on.
Jason, does it release them from the training or from that behavior?
So she brings up a good point. It releases from the behavior, but if you're done training, you also want to free your dog also. Okay? Yes?
So when we give his meals, he sits until we tell him okay to go to get his meal. We use okay. So when he's sitting for something else, can we use free or should we always use okay?
That's a really good point. So let's say Christina's at a busy park, and she put me in a down.
What? A down?
And she's barbecuing something, and her husband yells to her, "Hey, do you want some chips?" And she says, "Okay."
Okay.
Okay, I can take off running. So this is why okay is not very good. Okay, I know I answered that in a very sarcastic way, but it's a very common thing that people use okay, and until you really paint the picture, it's like, oh, wait a minute. And plus, we use okay in a very daily verbiage way too much. Okay, so
Oh, there you go.
let's talk about down. Who has taught their dog how to down? Okay, a couple people.
He's okay.
Who, out of those people who have taught their dog how to down, who has taught their dog to not down from a sit? In other words, you didn't teach your dog to sit and then down first. You have? Okay. Only because you've taken a class from me before. All right, that doesn't count. So, a lot of people try to teach their dog how to down by teaching the dog to sit first. This is faulty for two different reasons. One, it's faulty because it intermingles the sit and down, and it confuses the dog. It's kind of like this. If you ask your husband or spouse or family member to go and cut the grass, instead they painted the house, would you be confused?
I'd be happy.
By the way, you really need to paint your house, by the way. That's the second time I've heard that. So the point is, there are two different muscle memories to the dog. The reason why you guys do sit and then down is because it kind of makes sense in our minds. If we divide the dog in half, if we get the half of the dog to go down, the rest of the dog is really easy, right? However, what happens a lot of times, if you do sit and then down, you'll tell your dog to down, your dog will just sit there and look at you. In the dog's mind, that's down. So we really want to separate the two, sit and down. We want to make sure the dog understands one is one behavior and one is the other behavior, okay? So, I need a volunteer. I'm going to ask that I use the brindle puppy. Can I use you for a minute?
Yeah, she's not well trained at all.
That's why you're here.
Okay.
Yeah, trained dogs don't come to my class. So if your dog is trained, thank you for the donation. Do you have some food?
Yes.
All right. Christina, you want to hold a leash for me?
Sure.
Christina's going to be our safety here. If somebody wants to distract him, I'll take the puppy and we'll just say he ran away. Nice little puppy. Okay, watch what this young man's going to do. Can we ascertain that the dog is engaged with him? Yes. Very much so. Okay. Do me a favor. Can you sit on your bum?
Yeah.
Okay. Put your legs straight out. Okay. Now put your legs together and bend your knees up a little. There you go. Too much. There you go. Put food, since your dog is on your left, put the food in your right hand and put your right hand completely underneath your leg. All the way underneath. Show her your food. Shove it really far. Show her your food. There you go. And pull your hand through a little bit. Oh, too fast. Do it really slow. Like you're trying to get the dog to underneath your legs. And stop. And feed. Good job. And move your legs and say free. That's how we're going to teach them down.
Free.
Wow.
Free.
Good job. Okay. Christina, have him do that 3 more times. Okay. So, well, this is not going to be for every dog. We'll talk about how we do it with larger dogs. However, there's a key point here. I'm going to talk about that. So there's a key point here I want to cover. Did you notice I did not tell him to tell his dog to down? Can anybody tell me why? Muscle memory? Almost. Why don't we want to put a marker word to it yet?
You wanted to get the muscle memory before.
Ah, she's right. How did you know that? Dang it, she's smart. That's right. You guys were in the last class. I knew you looked familiar. Okay, so they're right. So I know this is going to be backwards thinking, but we don't put a behavior marker to a muscle memory until the dog understands a muscle memory correctly. So this time when he went underneath the legs, the dog's butt was up in the air. Did not drop the rear right away. So if he was to say down too early and the dog's rear is up, what behavior would he be marking? Yeah, rear in the air, right? You want to make sure that your dog does the behavior 10 to 15 times correctly. Stay there, Christina. Correctly before you put a marker word to it. Here's another example, okay? Christina's going to call me. Say come. And how you doing? How's it doing over there? Okay, so let's say she did that 10 times. Okay? Okay, I'll come to you finally. Okay, I'm to you. Now, out of 10 times, 8 times, I beelined it somewhere else. I didn't go directly to her. And she was saying come. What behavior would she be marking? Yeah, that's okay to check out, right? So she does not want to put a behavior marker to the muscle memory until she knows I'm going to be consistent at that correct behavior. Does that kind of make sense? I know this is kind of backwards, confusing thinking.
So if you do it, say 10 times consecutively, and then after the 10th time, you start telling the dog down in that position.
You got it.
Okay?
You got it. You hit the nail on the head. All right, so I'm gonna have you guys kind of do this right in your own little space there. So, oh wait, I gotta tell you, El, can you grab a bar for me? So let's say two factors. One, you can't get down to your dog's level. In other words, you can't sit on the floor. You're old like I am. Or two, you have a really big dog. That too. Can I use you for a minute? And your dog? Okay. Watch what this young lady's gonna do. Okay, hold it down a little bit lower. Okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna step over the pipe. You're gonna put your food underneath the pipe on this side. Oops, sorry. Keep your food really low. There you go. It's okay. So, oh, she's a little bit nervous. Drop the food right there. Just drop one. Now drop another one right outside of his reach. Good. Drop another one right outside of his reach.
She knows how to do it down already without sitting.
Does she? Okay. Then never mind.
You want her to go through those?
No, don't worry about it. It's gonna be too much. So obviously you guys see the mechanics behind it. Actually, I'm gonna have you do this if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do it.
Over there.
You over there? Yes. Sit down. Sorry, I don't have a reward for you. Okay, so she's gonna take her food. She's gonna put it underneath the bar.
Roxy.
Good. And stop. Oh, feed her. Oh, good job. Try it again. A little bit. Oh, okay. Have a couple pieces in your hand this time. Pull it through. Pull it through. Almost. Almost. Oh, almost. Okay, don't drop it yet. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. And Chris, stop. Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it. So, if she was to put a down command when the dog had its rear up in the air, what would she be marking? The wrong behavior, right? Almost, almost. Oh, so close. Okay. Obviously, you guys understand how the mechanics work. So, let's have you guys do this just in your spot there. If you're able to get down to your dog's level, do it. If not, these two young ladies would love to help you hold the pipe. Remember, once your dog downs, feed them, and then release them. So you can move your hand just a little bit around to get them to get back up after the down.
What about the little dogs to be done on the table?
We don't have a table. Yes. Hold on here. Let me get by here. I don't think we'll need that. We're gonna do this with him after class, okay? Okay.
Did I misunderstand? Did you tell me you did not want him on the chair?
If
Were you asking me why?
I would keep him off the chair. I just don't want him to jump off or lunge or hurt himself. That's good job. So is he offering it without your legs? Like, does he have to go? Does he go halfway with your legs and then downs?
Not usually.
Okay, then don't worry about your legs then. No, that's bad. That's not bad at all. Here, watch this. Can you stand up? Let's try something. Take a little piece of food, like 4 or 5 pieces. Put it right in front of his nose, like right down his level. Now go underneath them slowly. Oh. So when he's standing, do that same thing and say down. Underneath it and say down. Hold it right there. Wait. Don't move. Oh, you almost had it. So the moment his butt drops, throw him a party, okay? Good job. That's our goal. That's the goal for everybody. You're just a little ahead. Good job. Way to go. Oh, almost. So close. Good job.
When I get down on my knees,
Yeah.
he comes right to me.
Awesome.
Not every time, but
Is your buddy still here?
He went out to the car, I believe.
Okay, well next time have him come in, he can hold your dog while you do it down with him.
Okay.
You see what these guys are doing?
Yeah.
Okay, but the only problem is he doesn't like your food. So maybe
Yeah.
next week if you have a little higher
I'll
value.
bring some of that cheese.
Sounds good. And don't feed him on the day you come also. That'll help a little bit too. Okay, hold on to him tight, okay? Let's have you back up just a little bit.
Come on, buddy.
Yes, by all means.
When you do it down, you have to say free when you're done with the command.
You absolutely. So once you feed him, unless you're going to want him to stay in that stationary position. Okay, so.
Because at the nursing home, she sits, and then it's like, okay, I got my treat, I'm up.
Okay,
And
so
I need her to sit, and I need her to stay down.
you need you want to ask for some duration. So here, where's your food at? I'll help you with it.
Can't go all the way underneath.
Okay, do your down over. Okay, so the only thing I would suggest is instead of bringing the food forward, go underneath her with the food. Here, reload.
Let me go underneath.
I'll show you. Put the food right in front of her nose for me. Okay. Lure her so she's standing up. Like, no, move the food. Just walk her a little bit. There you go. Now go under between her front feet with the food and stay down. That okay, her front feet all the way to the ground, hon. Hold it right there. Wait. Okay, so I might encourage you to reteach the down a little bit, like going into your legs, because when you did it before, your food was going away from her. So that causes the dog to keep going forward, yes. If you go underneath her, then the dog goes backwards into a down, which is a much better way for them to down. So when you work with her at home and downing, have her down, drop 3 or 4 pieces of food, count to 3. Drop 3 or 4 pieces of food, count to 3. Drop 3 or 4 pieces of food, count to 3, and then free her. So basically you're feeding her, you keep continuously feeding her and help her to stay. And then you separate those times. So let's say you fed her every 3 seconds, then a couple days later, every 10 seconds, and then every 20 seconds. But you drop the food between her front feet.
So drop it between here.
After she's in the down. Okay, hold your food right there. Oh, wait, okay. Now drop a couple pieces. Okay, reload, drop another couple pieces. Good. Drop another piece.
Good job, Lulu.
Okay, now stand up and free her.
Free.
Good. So now you just have to build on that. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. How we doing?
She's laid down once.
She laid down once?
But she's going through.
Drop your knees just a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go.
And we need to, that's a party too. She
I
did it once
will.
for the first time.
Good. Okay, stop. Don't move your hand. Don't move it. Don't move it. Hold on. Just wait till she... Let's see if she drops. Okay, go a little bit further than with your... Oh, good job. Try it again.
But she's pretty much like about 6, 7 times that, and then one time she dropped.
Gotcha. Good. So you have to find that point where she won't necessarily back up, but she can't, like, you're stop moving your hand. So then she's gonna hopefully relax and just drop her body down.
Yeah.
Okay. And small dogs are very difficult to get this. It's just they're very nimble. They can move their body very easily, and so it's very difficult. Okay. Good job. Hey, good job. I like it. Okay. So you guys did really good. A couple things I want to comment on. One, I know it's hard not to say down to your dog, but trust me, if you first capture the correct muscle memory and then put a marker word to it, you're gonna be further along than you realize. 2, this takes some patience. This young lady with the Chihuahua, it's very difficult with small dogs. Small dogs are very limber, or larger dogs, they have more weight they have to support, so they're more likely to drop their body down, but the more shorter legged the dog is, the harder it is for the dog to finally offer it. However, the moment the dog offers it, you want to do what's called throwing your dog a party. Unless you've taken a class from me before, any idea what it means throwing your dog a party? Yay, okay, almost.
Treats, more treats.
More treats, you got it. Okay, so let me ask you this. If you work for somebody, your boss comes to you tomorrow and lays $100 on your desk and walks away, what would you do? Yeah. Your brain would do two things. Your brain would say, why did I do that? Or what did I do? And I want to do it again, right? Okay, so right now, you're feeding your dog 1 or 2 pieces of food for effort. But all of a sudden, your dog gets the concept. Then, at that moment, we want to throw them a party. Because then next time you start to lure them, what is the dog going to remember? The 1 or 2 pieces of food or the party? You got it. And if the party got them this huge reward, why wouldn't they want to do the party all the time? Does that make sense? Okay. So any questions on the down before we move on?
Could you, obviously when he's at the stage where he listens to down, can you also gesture as opposed to
Okay, that's a really good question. Can you pair, can your marker word be a hand signal? Or can your marker word be a visual cue? Yes. But I am not personally a visual cue fan. What happens if his dog relies on a visual cue of a finger poking and he's carrying groceries and he needs his dog to do something and he physically can't do that? So I wouldn't rely on them. Yes, it's something you can do, but it's usually not my first choice.
So, are both okay, or just try and stick with one?
You can do both are okay, but then again, you gotta wonder, are you intermingling things? Because what happens if your come command is a wave and you wave at somebody to go by? I mean, so I always like to make things black and white, and I think sometimes hand signals really dilute our communication. But that's just me personally. Okay? Any questions on the down before we move on? Okay, let's talk about sit a little bit. I'm gonna use my friend Christina here. Sorry. Okay, so a couple things in sit. We realize there's some mechanics. If we Thank you. So let's talk about some mechanics here. We realize that if a piece of food goes over the dog's head, what naturally does the butt do? The butt drops, right? Okay, so I really don't have to teach you guys how to teach your dog how to sit. Obviously, most of your dogs probably already know. There are a couple things that's going to help you have them be more consistent and teach a better picture. So I don't like it when my dog sits and rocks back here. But a lot of people inadvertently teach the dog this, because watch what Christina does. If she puts the food over my head, what am I naturally going to do? You're right. And so where do I naturally sit? And if she does that more than 10 times, she's probably just created the wrong muscle memory. So I want to teach you guys how to get your dogs to sit close to you. Now, if you've already been teaching your dog how to sit, and you've been doing this for a while, this is going to be very difficult. If your dog doesn't know how to do it, it's going to be much easier. Because what if I told you for 2 years of your life that 2 + 2 equals 8? And then one day I said, no, it doesn't equal 8, it equals 4. You'd probably be really confused, and it'd probably take you a while to really understand the correct answer, okay? That's kind of how it is sometimes reteaching your dog. So Christina's going to come back here. Face that way, please. So Christina's going to have her imaginary dog. So look how Christina's hands are. So Christina's hands are upside down. She's got the food in the palm here. And what she's going to do is she's going to take her hands away from her body. So the dog is back here, and she wants to suck the dog in and up. So her hands come in and up, just like. Okay, depending on your dog, this is going to be a little bit different. Obviously, some of your dogs are larger, and some of your dogs are smaller. If you have a small dog, kind of like the Chihuahua and the dog I keep messing up on the breed, I would encourage you probably to do this let's on a bed or get down on the ground with them a little bit, so you're a little bit shorter, and do the same thing. So the idea is, 1, to get the dog to sit close to you, and 2, get the dog to sit a little bit quicker. So before she teaches her dog to sit, what is she gonna first make sure her dog is? Engage with her, right? Because it does her no good if the dog is sniffing this dog over here and she's trying to do this, okay? So I am gonna have, anybody wanna be a volunteer for me? Okay, I'm gonna have this young lady try this with her puppy, and then I'll catch you guys loose. Can she hold your leash for a minute, please?
Sure, yeah.
Yep.
Puppy.
Okay, have you tried to teach the dog to sit yet?
Yeah, he sort of knew it. He picked it up like right away. And
Okay.
they used to have him sit before he goes beelines for the food. So he like sits and then he actually stands up and comes closer. So he comes at me already.
Nice, all right. I'll tell you what, let's just see how he sits. So when you're ready, I just ask him to sit. Good. Okay, so there's 2 things that's gonna help her here. 1, the dog's anticipating the food, keeps jumping up for the food, right? And 2, the dog still sat a little bit of ways away. So
want it in the hand.
yep, and put your hand right in front of his nose right now. Keep it kind of down low. There you go. Now draw your hands into your body. There you go. And then slide them slowly up your body just a little bit until he sits. Oh, almost. Try it again.
He doesn't have it. He's just licking. I know, a lot of stuff. Here.
Says, Mom, there's a lot going on here. Oh, good, right there. So that time, the dog didn't sit quite close enough, in my opinion, but remember, these are your dogs. However, what I really like is the dog wasn't bouncing up in anticipation for the food. Try it one more time. Oh. So if your dog jumps up on you kind of like hers is, try to ignore the dog. Don't push the dog off. Don't tell the dog no. Just ignore the dog. Oh, just ignore it. And ask him to sit. And feed. Excellent. Good job. All right, go and take your leash back. All right, so a little note here. I kind of got ahead of myself. Science tells us that we have 2 to 2.3 seconds in order to feed for behavior or mark a behavior for the dog to coincide why they got the reward. So if her dog sat and then she waited 5 seconds to reward the dog, too much time would have gone by and the dog wouldn't necessarily coincide why it got the reward. Okay? So you guys need to make sure the moment the dog offers correct behavior, you guys immediately feed. Don't wait too long. Okay? And in the end, these are your dogs. If you're happy with where the dog is sitting or how the dog is downing, if you say, Jason, I really want my dog to sit and then down, I'm perfectly fine with that. My job is to show you the best I can. Your job is to take what you guys want from the class and apply it to your dog, okay? Any questions before I let you guys go?